Greetings and salutations. I'm the fallen angel Christopher Daniels.
Hello, yes, Danhausen here, to tell you, deliver a very nice, very evil message, if you will.
This is NXT superstar Dexter Lumis.
What's up, everybody? It's me, your buddy, your pal, Scott Stanford.
Hey, this is Big Sexy Kevin Nash.
This is the former intellectual savior of the masses, now known as Aaron Stevens, your NWA third-degree national champion.
This is Dr. Britt Baker, DMD, the role model, and you are listening to Greg Morgan with Good Mic Work Commentaries.
And I want to tell you, Greg, your buddy Howie, also known as Wheezy, as you call him, he told me all about your channel. I'm here to tell everybody that I've seen it, I've watched it, I've looked at it. I went down the rabbit hole and I couldn't get out of it. It was so good.
Yeah, you better watch this channel. You better watch all the videos.
I'm about to go and watch a few videos myself.
Watch them 5 times a piece. That's right, I said 5 times a piece. Do it.
I know you've been a fan for like 40 years. I've only been doing it for 30, so I guess we're fans together there for 10 of it.
Do it.
He's not going to fill your head with bullshit. He's going to tell you real deal, what's up, and that's that.
Do it.
Good Mic Work is the place to be for all your wrestling information, guaranteed.
The best wrestling content is right here at Good Mic Work Commentaries.
Good Mic Work Commentaries.
Good Mic Work Commentaries.
Good Mic Work Commentaries.
Check out Good Mic Work Commentaries.
Good Mic Work Commentaries.
Check out Good Mic Work Commentaries on YouTube.
Subscribe, share, love, like, poke, whatever you need to do.
If you don't, we're gonna have a problem.
Love that, Danhausen. Love that Good Mic Work Commentaries.
Do it now.
You're welcome.
What's going on, everyone? Happy Monday to one and all once again. Happy 28th birthday to WWE Monday Night Raw. Debuted on January 11th, 1993, and I don't think this is quite the way we as fans or the WWE would really want to spend their anniversary or their birthday. This was a very, very bad show. Some of it WWE's fault, as it always is, with their shitty booking and all the other problems they have, but also it looks like they've been hit with some sort of a coronavirus outbreak here, losing their WWE champion Drew McIntyre, and apparently many, many others, which put a huge damper on the show and forced at least 4 pieces of talent to work double duty. Tonight was like a double duty Raw, so we had a lot of that going on tonight. Looks like the show was kind of thrown together. A couple of weird things happened. Not too much to talk about in terms of future storyline, except the end was pretty good with Alexa Bliss shooting Randy Orton in the face with a fireball. But this show's also going ahead with college national championship game that's going on right now, Alabama and Ohio State, which last I checked, Alabama was up pretty big. It looks like they still are. Oh yeah, they're beating the shit out of them. Okay, so it's 52-24. So hopefully not too many of you are fixated on that and can join us here tonight for a Raw review. All right, I can be seen and heard. Just want to make sure we're all good to go over there. And welcome to those of you that are here. Good to see you, Spaz and Barry and Deshaun with some super chats already. And Chris, I'll get to these in just a second. Thanks to you guys for being patient. I know now on Monday nights I'm coming up at 1:15 just to give myself a little bit of time to put everything together. So I thank you for being patient and waiting for me. But we're here now to talk about tonight's Monday Night Raw. Like I said earlier, we lost Drew McIntyre on the show. It was reported earlier on in the day that he did test positive for COVID-19 and was off the show. He had a scheduled match with Randy Orton tonight that had to be pulled last minute. So, you know, you kind of thought that was it, but we should have known better. If your WWE champion tests positive, chances are there's a lot of other positive tests as well. And even though WWE was upfront about him, which was also strange, not only did they report that he had COVID instead of saying he wasn't medically cleared or made up some bullshit, they were actually truthful about the situation, which I thought was nice because they haven't really done that yet. I know they've acknowledged COVID, but they don't usually like to talk about people testing positive, and they certainly don't like to talk about masks and distancing and anything like that. And they did. Drew McIntyre spoke a couple of times, and the first time he let everyone know that he's doing fine, he's quarantining, he has no symptoms, and encouraged all of us to wear a mask and take precautions and all that kind of stuff, which was kind of nice. AEW has been doing way more of that than WWE has been. So I kind of like that, but there was a lot of missing pieces from the show tonight. I didn't see Asuka, didn't see Kofi Kingston, no Cedric Alexander, no Shelton Benjamin, no Ricochet, probably a few others if I think real hard, but those are the ones that were noticeably absent from the show tonight. So it sounds like there's more than just McIntyre that got hit with COVID, which sucks. But luckily, it's early on in the month, and we're still a ways off from the Royal Rumble. And the Royal Rumble, you generally need as many pieces of talent as possible based upon how the matches are and stuff. You need a lot of talent there, not the time to be having some sort of outbreak in your company and losing a whole bunch of pieces of talent. So hopefully they can kind of get this under control and everybody can be kind of back to normal, because we haven't seen any serious outbreaks like this in a while, I don't think. And this is all assumption. I mean, all WWE has told us is about Drew, but as we go through the results here and you see how many people worked more than one match, it's pretty clear that there are more positive tests. But I don't want to make any speculation. I'm not saying any of those wrestlers earlier that I listed, I'm not saying they have it. All I'm saying is they weren't on the show tonight, and your champion has it. So, I don't know, just following the evidence, I guess. So make your own assumptions there. But we will talk about the Royal Rumble. We'll speculate on that tonight. We'll discuss the results of tonight's show and the ending there with Triple H and Randy Orton. Triple H basically taking the place of Randy Orton, or I'm sorry, of Drew McIntyre. And that was my initial thought earlier on in the day when McIntyre was announced to be off the show due to COVID. I said, you know, if they have something planned Fiend-wise for Randy Orton, which is what I expected anyway, like when the Drew McIntyre and Randy Orton match was announced, I'm like, okay, this is probably going to be an Alexa or a Fiend type of thing interacting with Randy Orton in the main event. So really all they have to do is plug somebody else in there in place of Drew McIntyre, and they could probably go along with plans, you know, as they were prior. So this was probably all supposed to happen, the whole Fireball thing. I don't think they threw that shit together today during lunch. I think this was the plan all along, was to have McIntyre and Orton, and then the lights go out and Alexa shoots Randy Orton in the face. Same thing. So they were able to salvage, I guess, the main event angle. But everything else, you know, I think really struggled tonight, and they had a lot of shit. Just seems like they were just making up on the fly. So overall, I'm not going to give the show a very good grade. It was tough to sit through, and there was a couple of head-scratching parts of it. So if you want to give me your letter grades or your 1 through 10s in the chat, let me know, and let me know what you think of it. Martin right there is giving it a B-. That's not bad, given the circumstances and the ending, which I think a lot of people are liking from what I can tell. Maybe this will get a better grade than it should, or I was giving it earlier on, but it's still one of those Raws that was just real hard to sit through, as they tend to be. But anyway, before we get into the actual results, let me say hi to everybody in the chat and knock out some of these super chats. As you guys know, my last couple of videos, I've been a huge pain in the ass reminding you guys about this, but I really want to try to get the likes up in 2021. So I would very much appreciate a like on this video, and it would help a lot. You have no idea. So if you can do that for me, I'd appreciate it. And if you're not subscribed to me, click 2 times and click subscribe as well. Actually, click 3 times. There's that bell thing. Click that shit too. Y'all know what to do. But just give me the likes, man. That's what I need right now. I need it. I got a fever. My only prescription is more likes. Chris Miner, appreciate the $5. Sup, Greg? I just became a Patreon supporter of the channel. Thank you, man. Best wrestling show out there. I'm still shook that WWE acknowledged the coronavirus. I will check. I usually nightly, you know, check my emails and stuff. So I'm going to take a look at that. I'm sure I will see your notification in there when I go through that. And I appreciate it, Chris, and welcome aboard. And thanks for the 5 as well here. David Robinson, welcome back. It has been a long time since I've seen your name floating around in here. Michael Cuomo, good to see you as well. And Reese Jones and Rocket Jet the Hawk Naveed. Man, we got some OG loyalists in here. That's awesome. Thank you, Spaz, as well, for the $5. Go over to Spaz Phoenix's YouTube channel. Hit him with a subscription. For anyone sick of WWE, come by the channel tomorrow, 9 p.m. The Flicks Fix series is back. Looking forward to 2021 in movies, TV. Cheers, Greg Gred. I can be Gred for one night. I'm cool with that, Spaz. And chat. Yeah, go check out Spaz, because I know he branches out a little bit beyond WWE and wrestling. And if you're just looking for any sort of chatter at all, to kill some time or take your mind away off shit that sucks, he is a good channel to go check out. Barry enjoys the Fireball ending for $2. Thanks, Barry. That was kind of cool. I immediately tweeted out, I'm like, see, Hogan, that's what you should have done to the Warrior at Halloween Havoc 1998, that Fireball botch. Just get a cannon, just get a bazooka cannon. I mean, obviously this was edited, but it was one of the more successful wrestling fireballs in history, because they only have about a 10 to 20% success rate as it is. And Alexa Bliss burned Randy Orton's face off, which I thought was nice. And it's, you know, continuing this ongoing feud with these two. And Randy Orton burned Bray Wyatt to a medium well. Now Alexa Bliss has turned him into Kane. So we'll see where this goes down the road. Really comical, I guess, selling by Randy Orton as the show was going off the air, because of course it's dead silent and you just hear him moaning and groaning. So whatever you do, don't splice out that audio and sync it up to any sort of porn just for fun. Whatever you do, don't do that. We certainly wouldn't want to just see that and then pass it around Twitter. You know, that wouldn't be fun. So whatever you do, don't do it, okay? That was kind of comical to me. Randy Orton going nuts. Reminded me of Shane's cell that one time where he was like, remember? Shane McMahon. Deshaun Robinson, thank you, man. Appreciate the image earlier on. I actually stuck that up as a thumbnail. Thanks for the $5 as well. I watched the last 3 minutes of Raw, and I know it was better than the entire 3 hours. That's true. Am I the only one who laughed when Alexa hit Orton with that fireball? I laughed my ass off. I wasn't concerned for Randy Orton's safety. I thought it was great. So now that's, you can only imagine what something like that's going to do to Randy Orton's character now. If he's as sick as he is, without having something like that done to him, he could be really out for blood. And we'll see what this culminates with. We know we're going to get some sort of a new look Fiend at some point. I'm glad they're not rushing this. I thought for sure they were going to bring him back last week on January 4th. So the fact now that we're a couple of weeks into the new year and he hasn't turned back up yet, I think is awesome. And it's up to you guys to speculate on when you think he'll be back. If he'll be back prior to the Royal Rumble, show up at the Royal Rumble, Monday night after Royal Rumble. One of those three, I think, obviously, would be the best for him. And are they building this right now, this issue with Randy Orton, the Fiend, are they building that for Royal Rumble or beyond? Is this fireball to the face going to take Randy Orton out of action for a couple of weeks, and they're both kind of absent until after Royal Rumble? And then you pick that back up and you set it up for WrestleMania? Or do you get them both back on TV? Randy Orton recovers from the burned face. Wyatt recovers from the burned body, and you put them together in a match at the Rumble? Or what? What are they doing? Let me know. Y'all tell me. But it was good. I like the ending a lot. It saved the show. And 3 more from Deshaun. Thanks, man. Appreciate that a lot. I read COVID hit WWE, AEW, and Impact hard. I can imagine. And that makes a lot of sense, too, because we're right on the other side of the holiday season. And I'm sure some of this talent, or a majority of it, or part of it, was around more people, probably around family. I'm not going to lie. I was in a house of 8 people on Christmas Day. You know, the people were doing that. So I think it's likely that they're going to have a few tests now. And now when it happens at the top of your card like that, 1 week ago, Drew McIntyre was doing like a face-to-face promo with Hulk Hogan. You had Ric Flair there, a lot of other elderly wrestlers that McIntyre and a lot of potentially other positive people could have been interacting with last week. And I really hope, I haven't seen anything or read anything officially at all from any of the reliable sources that I always use. Nothing yet, but if this turns out to be something that spreads, you know, maybe WWE put Drew up there as kind of a distraction, you know, for us to say, oh, wow, they acknowledged the pandemic while all hell is breaking loose behind the scenes. I really hope that Ric Flair and everybody else is okay. I mean, Flair was on TV tonight, so apparently he's all right. And I don't know what the hell they were doing with Flair. Then Charlotte and Lacey, either, that whole situation, strange. But yeah, it doesn't sound good in WWE land. Hopefully everybody can get quarantined and through it and on the other side of it and come out healthy prior to the Royal Rumble. That would be great. Otherwise, it could be bad news for our friends. Chris Ludecki, good to see you, man. Appreciate the $5 as well. Do you think they gave Bray some time off because he was a positive case, or did he just need to lose some weight to be put back on? I don't know what I just thought that he was off selling the burns, and maybe they had a repackage going on for him. But if it's another reason, if maybe it's a COVID-related issue, I don't think so. Maybe nursing an injury, possible. Maybe he wants to lose weight, but I wasn't aware that was an issue with him either. So I don't know. I don't know what the story is. But after you do an angle like that where you burn somebody alive, they should stay off of TV for a couple of weeks. It would have been almost a little bit too ridiculous if he showed up right away. So he'll be back, I'm sure. This is all part of the Randy Orton and Bray Wyatt saga that might culminate in a really fun way, hopefully. Thank you, Michael, for the $5, but I thought it was a Chinese hoax. Drew doesn't need to drop the belt, and can still have a match with Goldberg at the Rumble. Yeah, I think the positive test will be fine for McIntyre. He's a big, healthy guy. He'll be fine, and I think there's enough time, 3 or 4, or still 3 weeks, I guess, until the Royal Rumble that he should be good to go. And they're not. As a matter of fact, tonight on Raw, he accepted the challenge of Goldberg, so that match is official. WWE's expecting him to be fine, and that's what you really have to worry about when it comes to the big pay-per-views like Royal Rumble and WrestleMania. I just don't want them to get some sort of last-minute positive test right ahead of a big title match or something, especially if it's Royal Rumble or WrestleMania, or you do all this crap with Drew and Goldberg and then it doesn't happen. Actually, I'd be fine with that if it didn't. but something to where it really hurts the show and you find out like the day of. We're all excited for the Rumble or WrestleMania, and then something major happens. It would have been like, in the finals, if they went game 7 and then LeBron got COVID. Like, could you imagine? So something like that I really worry is going to happen, and it probably will until the vaccine is, more widely distributed. We'll see. Fingers crossed, though, that Rumble goes off okay, because it could be a good start to the night, or the year. I'm sorry. Like, if we can, obviously, we're not going to have fans at the Royal Rumble. At least I don't think we are. Not going to have that. But if you can pull off a good Thunderdome show, a really fun pay-per-view, something unique and different, like I said, I want them to reconfigure it and make it look like Rumbles in recent years, where you use the dugout as the entrance and all that stuff. You do all that. You give us a great Royal Rumble. Give us some motivation heading into WrestleMania with a little bit of optimism and excitement. Say, okay, maybe shit might be good. I'm excited to see that. You combine that with, new administration here in the States, possibly some new regulations, maybe some easing of restrictions as we go along, possibly vaccines coming to us. And by the time we get to the summer, who knows? We could, let's try to think positively here for 2021, and at least in terms of wrestling, and we still have no idea what's going to happen at WrestleMania. So Royal Rumble, I think, could be a chance for them to really just start off on the right track in 2021, because so far they are failing miserably. Last week's Legends Raw was a complete fucking joke. This week wasn't all their fault, although even if they had a full staff and there was nobody tested positive for COVID and everybody was there's still a really good chance the show would suck anyway. But, 2021, like I said, can't be worse than the previous year. So maybe Royal Rumble will start us in the right direction of being at least semi-entertained in wrestling, because WrestleMania season usually is fun, regardless of, how bad things are. WWE usually picks it up a bit for Mania season. So let's hope. Let's hope that happens here. But I ain't holding my breath. Good to see Ungovernable, and welcome as well, Victor Colon. Yeah, it's crazy about Drew, but not that crazy, not that surprising. I mean, there's a pandemic, so it's going to be likely that people are going to get it from time to time. But it does suck that it happens to your champion when you have your champion booked in a match on your live TV show on Monday. So, but I think it was a minor loss. If this would have been the title match they did a few weeks back or a couple months back when Drew retained the title, that would have really sucked. But this match, this is what we were going to see. If we got Orton and McIntyre tonight, we were going to get the lights going out, and we were going to get Alexa there shooting Orton in the face, and probably a no contest. I don't think there was any official decision on Triple H and Drew, was there? Triple H picked up the sledgehammer, and then it lit on fire, and then Orton got shot, and I don't think anything happened. So it would have been something similar. Drew might have picked up his fucking sword and that thing caught on fire. I don't know. But I think getting to that spot of the fireball was really all they were trying to accomplish there. So us missing out on Orton and Drew isn't that big of a loss. Nothing was really going to happen there anyway. But all in all, they made the best of it. Thanks for the $2 to Sean. Triple H's last match on Raw was with Ziggler in 2016. No shit. Why the hell did he wrestle Ziggler in 2016 for real? In March? I was trying to remember the last match he had ever. I was thinking it was a Saudi Arabia show or something like that. I don't remember. And it was funny, too. I put this up on Twitter during the opening segment with Randy Orton and Triple H, which we're going to talk about here. And when they made it kind of like a street fight or whatever it was, or just a fight, not an official match, I'm like, I wonder if Triple H isn't quite in the shape he wants to be. He's always jacked, but he's an executive now. He's got a busy life. He's not probably in the gym, 3 or 4 hours a day like he used to be. And so maybe he doesn't look as jacked as he wants to be. So they're making a street fight so he can wear a shirt. That's exactly what happened. But he still looked in awesome shape like he always does. But maybe he just hadn't been to the tanning bed in a while or something like that. But I was wondering if they just made it a fight so he didn't have to be out there in full on gear. But we might as well get into that, since we've been just shooting the shit here for a while, get into the actual results of Monday Night Raw now that people are gathering around. We got about 100-ish people in the chat, which is fine. Hopefully that'll grow. And you can listen along as we talk about this very, very strange Raw. And like I said, it's their birthday. They debuted 28 years ago today on January 11th, 1993. I wish they would have been able to celebrate this a little bit better. I think they only mentioned it once on TV. They didn't have anything special planned for the anniversary or anything, not like they did for the 25th. And tonight's just, if you would have told me back on the debut of this thing in 93 and just given me, if you could just go back into the past and give me a card from the future and hand it to 17-year-old Greg and I read what happened tonight, I'd be like, first of all, who are these people? What's going on? What is a Thunderdome? I can't believe how drastically things have changed in the 28 years that Raw has been in existence. I've told the show before, I watched the very last primetime wrestling I think right at the end of 1992. I was watching it live, like as it was on TV, and I'm just watching it. I had no idea that they had any change planned because, you know, I wasn't subscribed to a dirt sheet at that point or anything. I had no idea that any sort of change was coming in the new year. And if they hadn't mentioned it previously on TV, I had just missed it. So I'm sitting there, Vince McMahon is there, and it's the round table prime time, and I don't know who was there then, Slick and maybe some other people. And Vince just says, yo, this is the last prime time, and this show is going to be replaced in a couple of weeks by Monday Night Raw. And I thought he said Raw, like R-A-W-L. And I'm like, what the fuck is Raw? I had no idea what Vince was even talking about. And then when I tuned in the first week, I'm like, oh, it's like an actual show and blah, and very different from what you saw them doing in 1993, coming from the Manhattan Center like that. I miss those days, man. So much better times, more innocent times, and a time when wrestling was far more enjoyable. Even at that time when they were in their downswing, they were still just extremely enjoyable. I enjoyed the shows back then. But anyway, happy birthday, Raw. Wish you could have had a better birthday. Triple H opens up the show. Of course, he was advertised as the show opener once it was announced that Drew McIntyre tested positive for COVID. WWE announced on their website and social media that Triple H would be coming out first. And that was my first thought. I'm like, well, somebody's just going to have to replace Randy Orton, and it might be Triple H. And in my head, I'm like, okay, Triple H is probably going to come to the ring, and then interrupted by Randy Orton. This was extremely stupidly predictable. And that's exactly what they did. And I think even they knew, the fans knew they were going to do this, because Triple H got out 2 words. You know, he just said, welcome to Monday Night Raw. He was a little bit sarcastic about the piped-in crowd noise, which was hilarious. And I think he said something like, I still got it. And I'm like, bitch, they're piping in those cheers. And that was funny. And then he doesn't really say anything else. Randy Orton's music immediately hits. Orton comes down to the ring. They talk some smack to each other a little bit. Triple H actually compliments Randy Orton a little bit and says, I'm proud of you for holding up that match and lighting the Fiend on fire and doing what you had to do to move forward or whatever. And but then also goes on to say that he's not a legend, he's a no good prick, and, you know, talks down to him. And then Randy Orton just basically drops a challenge, challenges Triple H to a match. Triple H says no. There's no, you know, people want you to say yes. I don't want to give you what you want, so no. And then, of course, Randy Orton does the very predictable. They do this every time. Oh, your wife must call the shots for you, or you need to retrieve your balls from Stephanie's purse, or whatever he said. That was enough. It's like when Michael J. Fox is called chicken and Back to the Future. And then, of course, that makes Triple H snap, and he gets in Randy Orton's face a little bit, but still doesn't give him an answer. He wouldn't give him an answer until later on backstage with whatever her name is. And he finally says and agrees to do the street fight, or the fight. Or wait, what was it called? The Legends Killer Challenge? I forgot. There's some little weird tagline on this match that didn't matter. But Triple H later on in the show would officially accept, and that would be your main event. Randy Orton versus Triple H in a fight. And that would lead to what we would see later on. The rest of the card was weird because, like I said, we had a whole bunch of talent here doing double duty. They opened up with Lacey Evans taking on Charlotte. No Asuka tonight on the show, which makes you wonder about her health and her situation. Best of luck to her if she doesn't, in fact, have this. And Charlotte was interviewed first, too, I believe, about what happened last week with Lacey hitting on Ric Flair, and Flair accidentally costing Charlotte the match and all that crap. And Charlotte says something like, do you think this is the first time I've seen somebody hit on my father? And it certainly won't be the last. I'm like, girl, it should be the last. Jesus, man, dude's 186 years old. He'd be 187, I think, in June. Jesus Christ, man, it should be the last. I kind of thought that was a funny line. And so she's pissed. She wants some retribution against Lacey Evans. So they go out there and have their match. And prior, like right when the match kicks off, Ric Flair just comes down the aisle, starts dancing his way down the aisle. He's laughing, he's smiling. And of course, we saw Charlotte get in his face last week and tell him to stay out of her life and things like that. So he's coming out there and he seems very, very happy. And they actually screw Charlotte here. They do the Mania 5 finish with Ultimate Warrior and Ravishing Rick Rude. Charlotte has got Lacey on the outside of the ring apron. She goes to suplex her over the ropes. Flair comes in, grabs her foot. Ric Flair grabs Charlotte's foot, holds it down as Lacey falls on top of her through the suplex, countering the suplex, and pins her. 1, 2, 3. Same exact finish they used to pass the Intercontinental title to Rick Rude at WrestleMania 5 against the Warrior. So nice little nod to that match. But why is Ric Flair now all of a sudden turning on Charlotte? Last week, it looked like Charlotte was going to be the heel by telling him to stay out of her face and doing that whole deal again like they've already done. And then this week, you got Flair costing his own daughter the match. And earlier on in the match, he actually put Lacey's foot on the ropes during a 2 count. stopping the 3 count. So if Flair did that a couple of times, don't know, and really don't care what they're doing here. I don't think you don't need to involve Ric Flair in Charlotte's stuff on TV. I just don't think. I think it's good enough that she's the daughter of Ric Flair. I think that's great that she's carrying on the legacy. And I'm one of the few fans who can actually appreciate that. I have nothing against Charlotte whatsoever, never have. But I don't like Flair being so overly involved in everything she does, especially when they don't know what they want to do with these two, because they're just making this shit up on the fly. One week they're, family and they love each other. The next week she hates him. And the next week he hates her. Like, just make up your damn mind. And whatever this is going to lead to, I don't know. Is it going to really lead to Lacey Evans wooing Ric Flair, and actually seducing him or whatever, which is what it looks like they're trying to do here with Lacey Evans, calling him, names on TV and blowing him kisses on camera and shit like that. So she's trying to get Ric Flair to join her, I guess. But what's the end game here? Like, what's the point? What's the point? What's the fucking point? Charlotte Flair and Lacey Evans at the Royal Rumble or something? I don't know. So I'm completely baffled as to what they're doing here, and I honestly don't really care because there's too many things going on. You got basically a feud between now Charlotte and Lacey with Ric Flair in the middle, and Lacey trying to, seduce Charlotte's father, but Charlotte is also co-holder of the tag team title with Asuka, and they're going to have some sort of a match at some point against somebody and have to drop the belts, and they're likely going to have a feud of their own heading into WrestleMania with maybe Rhea Ripley getting involved. I am all over the place with this women's division, so this is all just completely unnecessary to me. I think it might just be a temporary time-killing program, giving something for Charlotte to do until we get to WrestleMania, but once Asuka is healthy, then what? I don't know. I'm lost. This show is a mess tonight. After that, I don't know about you guys, but I don't want to live in a world where Jackson Ryker owns a victory over Jeff Hardy. But I do, and I guess there's nothing I can do about that. Jackson Ryker took on Jeff Hardy next. Very fast match. Jackson Ryker wins with a distraction roll-up. Elias is at ringside, of course, and he's giving Jeff a hard time on the outside of the ring, and Jeff is really preoccupied with him and really jaw-jacking back and forth with him and completely ignoring Jackson Ryker, allowing Jackson to roll up Jeff and get the win. So he wins right there. Jeff Hardy gets on the mic immediately and says, neither one of you fools can beat me, and challenges Elias to a match and says, you can't beat me one-on-one or something like that. Basically just says, I challenge Elias to a match. We go to commercial. We come back. We get Jeff Hardy and Elias. So Jeff right off the bat is working double duty. This is a pretty decent match here. I laughed my ass off when Elias hits Jeff with an FU. Or an attitude adjustment right in the middle of the ring. I thought that was interesting and a pretty funny spot there. In the end, though, Jeff won with a swanton, beat him clean again, and the Jeff Hardy-Elias feud either ends here or continues from here. Not sure, but that was fun. After that, more double duty stuff and more confusing shit again with Sheamus and Keith Lee backstage. They get a tag team match set up with Miz and Morrison, where the four of them are talking, and Miz and Morrison are giving them shit. You guys can't get along, blah, blah, blah. So they convince them to have a tag team match later on in the night, and this is all stemming from Sheamus and Keith Lee's inability to get along. And we saw Sheamus bro kick him that one week, and he's kind of been a dick. But we go out to the match here, and the match starts, and these guys are getting along just fine. They're cohesive. They are... They're using like tag team strategy. They seem to be cooperating and on the same page as one another, and made pretty easy work of Miz and Morrison. At one point, Keith Lee even shoulder tackled Morrison into the corner so hard that the ring broke off. Obviously, to me, that looked totally gimmicked as a way just to show how strong and beefy Keith Lee is. And as this match was going along and I was watching how Sheamus and Keith Lee were working as a tag team, I started to kind of like it. Because these guys, especially Keith Lee, we're really kind of sick of seeing him flounder and do nothing. Sheamus puts on good matches, even though he's not everybody's favorite. I really would not have a problem with these two forming a semi-permanent team, at least for a little while. Now, we've seen this with Sheamus before. He's very good at becoming teammates with people he's enemies with. The Bar was one of my favorite teams ever. And how did they start? Feuding with each other, best of 7 series, at each other's throats. Then they eventually formed a team. I think Mick Foley kind of forced them to or something, and they grew to love each other and then became one of the best teams and one of my favorite teams in recent history in WWE. So if they did the same type of deal with Sheamus and Keith Lee, I wouldn't totally hate that. They wind up beating Miz and Morrison. I think Keith Lee even allows Sheamus to hit Morrison with the bro kick and get the pin. They shake hands. They celebrate together as a team. And this is where I got lost because I was kind of busy. I was preparing for the stream. I was talking. I was doing other things, but also watching at the same time. I see them win the match. I see them celebrate the tag team match. I then see them cut backstage where Triple H officially accepts Randy Orton's challenge to fight later on. And then I think we go to commercial. And then next thing I know, I just look at the screen and we've got Keith Lee and Sheamus in a one-on-one match. I saw nothing of how this was made or why it was made or what the reasoning for it was. Was there a promo that I missed? Did these guys start pushing and shoving and disagreeing at the last minute and one of them challenged them to a match? Was this match already advertised prior to the tag team match? What was the reason for when I just looked at the screen, Keith Lee and Sheamus are wrestling each other in a match? I've never been more lost in my life. So just as I was starting to get excited at the possibility of these two guys forming a team, even asking you guys on Twitter to give me some team names for the two of them, which I think would be fun, just to come up with some random names for these two very, very different wrestlers. And then I come back and they're fighting now. So it looks like this is going to be an ongoing thing with the two of them, which is fine. I still think that despite the match here that they would have, you can still team them up. I just don't understand why you had the match and what the point of the match was and what the fuck. But you go to the match here, you get Keith Lee against Sheamus, and Keith Lee beats him clean. And then after the match, they hug. They are like, there's a show of respect there. They hug. It's like they got out of their system. They aired their grievances. Sheamus seemed to accept the loss like a man and came together with Keith Lee. So this thing seems like it's going around in a fucking merry-go-round. They like each other. They hate each other. They like each other. They hate each other. I think it's eventually probably going to lead to an alliance, a tag team title victory, and then a breakup, right? Isn't that how this formula usually goes? So they're just doing it in a really weird way. So I don't even know why they wrestled. But I laughed that they were friends, then they wrestled, then they hugged. Where am I? What year is it? How long have I been asleep? Help me. So I don't know. I don't know what's going on with that. But either way, I guess I'm okay with their program right now and the angle they're doing with them on TV, because it does give them both something somewhat significant to do. And if they do come together as a team, I liked what I was seeing from the two of them. And if they do kind of form a unit, obviously it won't be a team that's going to last forever, but it could be something for these guys to do for a while, which would be good until WWE decides they want to start giving a shit about Keith Lee. This puts him in a major, in a top storyline, and he could potentially have gold around his waist if, who the hell are the tag team champions on Raw? Who are they? Hurt Business. I had to think about it. Okay, so maybe that would work out because the heels babyfaces. So if Sheamus and Lee can eventually team up, I wouldn't mind them winning the tag team titles. I think that could be fun. It would give Keith Lee some gold on the main roster and something significant to do, and the whole thing can implode and then end in a big blow off, maybe at WrestleMania and some sort of a weird pork chop match. I don't know, but we'll see. We'll see where they go. Before I get into the next match, let me go over here and cruise and see if I got any supers to add or to answer. Have Keith Lee turn heel? Possibly. I felt like he was gonna, and then I thought that might have been a good swerve last week when he faced McIntyre, but then it didn't happen. But right now, I was like okay with what Sheamus and Keith Lee are doing. I find it mildly interesting in these days in WWE. That's all I can really ask for, just to be somewhat interested. And I thought the two of them actually have some chemistry and worked well. So I'm cool with seeing more of them for a while. Maybe it gets shitty and then we want out. But at least for right now, I'm on board with it, especially if it leads to more fun stuff. Where was the super chat I missed? Oh, there, okay. Ike Moore, thank you, man. Welcome back and appreciate the $10. I laughed when Rick said, I'm not staying home. We sure have heard that a lot this past year. Also, Hunter looking old depresses me so much. Yeah, I mean, maybe. I mean, Hunter is getting up there in age, but I think Triple H still, he still looks good for somebody his age. He can still wrestle. He's still in shape. I hope when I'm that old, I could even be in half that good a shape. But I think age just does that. Triple H is probably going to look pretty tore back when he's like in his 70s or something. He's going to look a very interesting looking man. But right now, I still think he's hanging on, or he's not too busted yet. But that's what happens to all of us. There's a lot of mask wearing and conspiracy and Trumper talk in the chat. That's kind of funny. That's random. Why, is that all because Drew McIntyre said wear a fucking mask? Wear a mask. If you don't wear a seatbelt, you get a ticket. If you walk into the mall with bare feet, and no shirt, they tell you to leave. What's one thing over your disgusting fat mouth? What's the big deal? How's your freedom threatened and compromised? no shirt, no shoes, no service. No shirt, no shoes, no mask, no service. What's the big deal? Fake patriots. They're everywhere, y'all. My freedom. My freedom. Go get a blowjob from your cousin and fuck off. Anyway, where'd we leave off in the Raw results? T-Bar and Xavier Woods. Poor Xavier. I don't think I've ever seen any member of the New Day since Big E got a singles push out there by himself. I mean, prior to this, when has this happened? So you got Big E on SmackDown. Kofi was not on the show tonight, and we're, speculating that potentially he could be one of the positive tests, either that or he's injured. Either way, he was not on the show. We wish Kofi best, whatever's going on with him. And Xavier was out there all by himself to take on, of all people, the largest member of Retribution with the rest of the members of Retribution at ringside. So this is fair. And of course, Xavier Woods got absolutely obliterated, and T-Bar beat him. Retribution was happy, very proud. Ali staring at his big guy there. Reckoning seems to be back in the good graces. Did they forget that they're mad at Mia? Because they were a couple of weeks ago. So that happened. Poor Xavier Woods got killed. Then we had a U.S. title match. Bobby Lashley and Riddle. Of course, Riddle got the sneak win over Lashley last week, and he kind of wanted a U.S. title match tonight. And I was nervous because I really, as much as I like Riddle, I just need Lashley to continue rolling here. So what I needed him to do tonight was to put the hurt lock on Riddle and tap him out. And luckily, that's what we saw. Prior to the match, Riddle's talking to the Lucha House Party, and he calls them like brochachos or something like that. I actually think brochachos is a better name than Lucha House Party, but he's just ridiculous. And prior to the match, before the match gets underway, Bobby Lashley actually attacks Riddle, gets a little upper hand on him prior to the bell. Then the bell rings. He beats the crap out of Riddle. Riddle's got blood on his face. He fights back a little bit, does have some offense in the end. Lashley puts him in the hurt lock, and Riddle taps out. And then we go into yet another double duty match. After Lashley is celebrating with MVP in the aisleway, Riddle gets on the mic and says, all right, Lashley, you beat me or something, but MVP, you can't beat me. And challenges MVP right there. MVP's in a suit. So we go to commercial, we come back, we get MVP versus Riddle. Then MVP's wearing his street clothes. So this was very odd, and no sign of Cedric or Shelton Benjamin either. So that match lasts a few minutes. It was basically just a way to fill the segment. Very, very short match. A couple of minutes in, Lashley hits the ring, spears Riddle, causes a DQ, and Riddle beats MVP via disqualification. So I'm glad that Lashley got out of that as U.S. champion. I have to do my token weekly profession of love to Bobby Lashley because I really, really want him just to hold onto that belt for a while. I just think that's very important. I think that's very important in building Bobby Lashley up for a potential run at the top and maybe a dream match down the line with Brock Lesnar. I think if you ever want that match to happen, you cannot halt his momentum. It's the most momentum he's ever had in both of his runs in the company. It's the best chance he's ever had to get over and get on top. This is it. If you cock block him again, WWE, I am never going to fucking forgive you guys. Please keep Lashley rolling, keep him strong, keep him a badass, keep him a killer, and make it nearly impossible for that belt to be pried out of his hands. I'm begging you, WWE, please. Is that much to ask? I mean, it's how sad is it that I have to plead and beg for WWE to give a push to an awesome wrestler? Shouldn't have to beg. God damn. Anyway, go Lashley. You're my man. After that, we had Drew Gulak and AJ Styles. This was where the stupidity just continued here. Drew Gulak and AJ Styles are backstage with Adam Pearce. Gulak says he wants to be in the Royal Rumble, and Adam Pearce is like, dude, it's like, that's precious real estate. There's only 30 spots there. You can't just declare for the Royal Rumble. And then Gulak's like, well, AJ did. And I like that AJ was like, yeah, because I'm the fucking champ, man. And I'm actually in agreement with that. I think that would have been a good enough reason for Adam Pearce. He didn't say it, but if I was Adam Pearce, I would have been like, well, here's the reason. He's AJ Styles. You are Drew fucking Gulak. That's why he can declare and you cannot. You don't really have to explain much more than that. He's former champion. He's a legend. He's the best wrestler in the world. You're just here. So he can do what he wants, kind of thing. But he didn't really say that. AJ said that for Adam Pearce. And Adam said, basically what they did here is make a match between Gulak and AJ Styles. And Pearce said, okay, Gulak, if you can beat AJ, then you're in the Royal Rumble. So he makes Gulak earn it and says that you can't just declare, you have to earn it. Then, just a little while later, right before, or actually, let's talk about the match first, and then we'll talk about the stupidity there. You then go to the ring, Gulak and AJ Styles, and of course, AJ beats Drew Gulak. I didn't see what happened with Omos. Did he interfere or beat up Gulak on the outside of the ring? I'm not quite sure, but in the end, AJ Styles was able to hit Drew Gulak with the phenomenal forearm for the win, and as for now, at least for right now, Gulak is not in the Royal Rumble. Next match up was a tag team match between Nia Jax and Shayna Baszler taking on Mandy Rose and Dana Brooke. Prior to the match, they do a backstage promo with Mandy and Dana where they both fucking declare for the Royal Rumble. 20 minutes after Adam Pearce, out of his own mouth, says you can't just declare, Mandy and Dana declare. And they ain't AJ Styles. They are not at the caliber there. They are people that are often eating salad instead of being in the ring and catering. They can't just declare. And I think that's hilarious that Pearce said that and they did it. What the fuck is going on here? But obviously they can be in the Rumble because 30 women, that's going to really stretch the field. It's harder to fill that than it is for the male wrestlers. So of course they can be in it, but you can't say in a script, like, who reads this script and be like, hey, we just contradicted ourselves 20 minutes after we said this. Like, does nobody read it and say, and point that out? Like, how does that go missed? They don't care. That's how it goes missed. But anyway, that was dumb. After that, we got the match, and Nia Jax and Shayna Baszler did, in fact, defeat Mandy Rose and Dana Brooke. And I'd be all for a Mandy Rose and Dana Brooke continuing to improve, starting to win matches, and giving them a run with the tag team titles. I have no problem. If the tag team belts have been on the Iconics, then they can be on anybody. And I know a lot of people like Mandy Rose. I never cared about her until the Otis feud and the Sonya Deville feud, and I was like, she's not as bad as I thought. I didn't give her enough credit. I thought she was all just looks and blonde hair and things and all that. She is much more than that. She's very good. And I've always just appreciated and respected Dana Brooke's attitude and positivity towards everything that she's gone through. And she's always just worked really hard, and she deserves to get a run with the ball here or something. So if they form some sort of a permanent team, I'd be fine with them building momentum and actually winning the titles here. But they got beaten down pretty hard here by Nia Jax and Shayna Baszler. So they're a ways off from that. I wouldn't mind, even though I don't want to really see these two champs again, I wouldn't mind if you do Jax and Baszler regaining the titles from Charlotte and Asuka, maybe a miscue with Charlotte and Asuka that leads to their Royal Rumble match or something, putting the belts back on Jax and Baszler for a short amount of time, and then having Mandy and Dana avenge their loss here and beat them for the titles, maybe. But then again, these titles are a tri-branded title, and you can't do it all on Raw. So maybe you want to give another team a chance, put it over on SmackDown, with somebody over there, maybe Bianca and Bayley, as people have talked about, maybe even shooting down to NXT or something. So I don't know. We'll see what happens in the future there, but kind of silly situation there. And that leaves us with the main event. The main event segment's going to be Randy Orton, Triple H. I don't think this match even got started until about 10 minutes till the top of the hour. So they waited a long time. By the way, since there's a good amount of people in here, you guys do me a huge favor and smash that thumbs up button for me. I'm really trying to get the likes up in 2021. I would appreciate that since we're all here. Thank you, man. Thank you so much. But they started this match with like 10 minutes to go on the show. So that was when all the red flags were going up for me, just like I thought prior to Raw even starting today, when they announced McIntyre and Orton. I'm like, well, we're not going to get a finish there. I don't think Drew McIntyre is going to claim more and just pin Randy Orton 1, 2, 3 clean. And I certainly don't think Randy Orton's beating the champ either. They're probably using this match as a way to introduce the Fiend or something Fiend related with Randy Orton. So once the match started so late, I'm like, okay, they're just going to beat each other up for a little while and then Fiend's coming out. I was almost right. They did start beating each other up for a little while. Triple H got cut open on his head. I didn't catch how that happened. A lot of brawling. Triple H eventually goes for the sledgehammer that he's got, I think, hidden under the ring. And as he's coming up the steps to assault Randy Orton with it, the lights start going out in the Fiend style. And Triple H kind of gets in the ring. He's standing in the corner. And his sledgehammer, the sledgehammer part of the sledgehammer catches on fire. It's just lit up. And Triple H is looking at it. And then he kind of disappears. Orton's in the ring by himself. And you hear some really like distorted funhouse music playing over the speakers. And then Alexa Bliss appears in the corner standing there, and Randy Orton looks at her. I think he takes a step closer, and then she pulls out that taser or that fire cannon or whatever it is and shoots him directly in the face with a fireball. He goes down. He starts selling it. My eyes, my eyes. He was like Phoebe when she found out that Chandler and Monica were hooking up, and he's freaking out, selling it as the show goes off the air. So I thought it was really well-placed fireball, even though they had the advantage and the luxury of editing here. It looked pretty good. And like I said, if Hogan would have done that to the Ultimate Warrior at Halloween Havoc in 1998, that pay-per-view might have been a lot better. But it was a pretty good spot, I thought, to close the show, and it shows that the Fiend is not quite done, and it also adds length to his absence and more speculation, which I like, because I think in a situation like what they did with him, you can't really bring him back in 1 or 2 weeks. And I thought that they were. I really thought we were going to see him last week. So the fact that we haven't seen him yet, it was the question I posed to you guys earlier on. Do you think this is going to be setting up a Royal Rumble match or setting up a WrestleMania match? Now with Randy Orton being shot in the face, I can't see a situation or a scenario where he would be back on TV next week. You'd think you'd sell that for a day or two, you know what I mean? Or a week or two. So maybe they both come back at the same time on the go-home show and they make some sort of wacky-ass match for the Royal Rumble. Or I can't imagine either both of those guys staying absent for the Royal Rumble. They should have a presence there, whether it be in the Rumble match or a match against each other. So I can't see them not working the Rumble, but maybe this is a way to stretch it to Mania. So I guess Orton will be off TV next week and then maybe come back after that. Or Fiend comes back first, and then the week after that, Orton comes back. I don't know how they're going to do it, but we're going to get a match here between them, but when's it happening? I guess Rumble, right? It'd be stupid for it not to happen at Rumble. We'll see. Let me cruise over here since we're done with the show, done with the results, see what y'all have to say, and if I missed super chats. Oh, good. I got Ike Moore. Oh, I got Devlin here, too. What's up, buddy? And, hey, when is your birthday? Is it today? Or was it yesterday? Happy birthday, Devlin. I know it's either today or yesterday or soon. And you're like 23, you young prick. Good for you, man. I'd trade places with you in a heartbeat. Show Devlin some love. And thanks for the $10, dude. Just go. Oh, and there you said it right. You said it in your chat. I got to read first before I start saying shit. Hey, Greg, just got back from the gym. First day back into the gym in over a year. Holy shit. And I start with leg day. That's an interesting way to start. Yeah, man. You just collapsed. I have you as my hostage now. You can just sit here and listen to us. It's also my 23rd birthday today. I knew it was today or yesterday or something. I'm so happy to hear that. 23. Jesus, you are young. You were 2 when Raw started? No, you were -5 when Raw started. Excuse me. Damn, bro. Well, happy birthday. All right, I've got all the super chats. There's a whole bunch of chat in here that I'm not reading. I think about mask stuff. I don't care. If you disagree with me or not, I don't care. Randy Morton is pushing his career so hard he might have just shoved what was left over the edge into Linda McMahon's lap of release. Maybe. I think Randy Orton's doing great. Doing great. Jessica, what would I do if Hogan returned for the 1700th time and beat Drew for the title, brother? Probably become a minimalist, sell my possessions, live in a cabin in northern Alaska, grow a beard, eat bear that I shoot and kill, that sort of thing. It's most likely what I would do. Damn, Shell Shock, we got another 23-year-old in the chat as well. Cool. Got some youngins up in here. Speaking of youngins, maybe you guys, some of you around that age might remember this show and remember it fondly. SmackDown, September 18th, 2003. It was the Brock Lesnar and Kurt Angle Iron Man match. I'm going to be reviewing that show live on Thursday at 8 p.m. Eastern, right here on the channel. I'm going to review that entire show. So if you want to go on the WWE Network and watch it and see it and watch that match, still is considered one of the best SmackDown matches in SmackDown history. I had a friend that was at that show, and it was in Raleigh, and for some reason, I was not there. I lived in North Carolina at the time. I was at some shows in 2003, but for some reason, not at that one. And AJ Daniels, our great Patreon supporter, has donated to have this review done, and we're going to do it in live form on Thursday. So that's a fun live stream coming up. And I also have 2 Royal Rumble live watch-alongs coming up on the channel as well. I'm going to do 1 Royal Rumble match and 1 Royal Rumble pay-per-view. The Royal Rumble match I'm going to let you guys know about is Royal Rumble 2005. I think that would be a really fun to do a live watch-along of, considering the finish and the botch and Vince blowing out his quads and all that stuff. Plus, it was a highly requested review that I do, but I thought of, instead of maybe reviewing it, since COVID has put a hurting on my restaurant right now, I am not currently working, at least right now. Probably won't be back for a week or so. I've got some time, so we're going to do a live stream here within the next 2 weeks, probably in the next 10 days. And I'll let you guys know about that. And then I'm also going to do another live watch along, but it's going to be of the entire Royal Rumble show. Right now, I'm leaning towards 2009. I think that would be a good one. I got that one requested a lot as well. So those are coming up on the channel in January. It's 3 additional live streams, a SmackDown review on Thursday, and then 2 watch-alongs coming up. Barry has also had a review donated to be done in January as well. That's probably going to be coming, I think, on the 28th-ish. somewhere around there right at the end of the month. So January's packed here on the channel. So if you happen to be stumbling across this channel and you're wondering who this bald fool is talking to you, I'm pretty awesome. You should stay here and subscribe. So please do. That's the house cleaning I want to get out of the way. Thank you for the $5, Isaiah. Sorry about all the mask talk. Can't believe we have to argue over masks. I didn't even realize. Hey, if people are in there arguing about masks and you don't think we should wear them, trust me, I'm not seeing it. So you are talking into the air. So give it up and go storm the fucking Capitol building, you moron. Sorry about all the mask talk. Can't believe we have to argue over masks after a year of this virus. Excited for the Royal Rumble, even though all the Raws have sucked. Yeah, I mean, Royal Rumbles are always fun no matter how shitty the shows are. And lately, they've been pretty good. Like I said, I've really enjoyed the setup and the dugout, set and everything. I just think that's kind of cool. So I'm hoping that this year, despite the pandemic, despite the fact that we're still dealing with a Thunderdome, the WWE is going to book this show in a way that they would if we actually had fans, meaning, big surprises, maybe a comeback. If Goldberg wins the title from Drew McIntyre, I'm changing my name to Pikachu. I don't know what I'm going to do. I don't know what I'm going to do. You guys are going to have to help me. You're going to have to pull me up and dust me off and tell me to not give up, that life is still worth living. And, help me out. I'm going to need you. It's like the footprints painting. You guys are going to have to carry me through it because I don't think I'm going to be able to handle it if that fucking fool wins. Gary Rambo, thanks for the $5. I want your name. Can I be Greg Rambo? That'd be awesome. How do you feel about the cast of Jersey show and keeping up with the Kardashians nowadays? I don't care about either. I watch a lot of ridiculousness. It's always on the TV. So I see those stupid Jersey. I can't believe that Jersey Shore shit is still around. I remember when it was I never watched it. Don't really know anything except that one guy is like really, really stupid. And Snooki was on WWE once. Other than that, I don't know about it. They have another show out. I don't fucking care. It's awful. And the Kardashians, they're just really, really, really horrible people. And I don't even want to think about them existing. So I completely ignore them. I don't have an opinion on them. I don't see their shit. I don't watch their shit. I don't follow them on social media. And if I see a headline or an article about one of them, I don't click it. In my life, they're invisible. They don't exist. Fuck them. Pikachu mic work. I like it. Too many syllables, though. Yeah, Devlin, but I can't. That's why I can't wait to review or to watch along that particular Rumble match, because I remember watching Royal Rumble in 2005 and watching the finish. I was already starting to get checked out. By then, shit was so different. I thought the business was really in a downswing around that time. That's just the way it felt to me. The glory days of the Attitude Era were 3-4 years behind us, and I was just not as interested. And I remember not being. I didn't accept Batista and John Cena as the next guys, even though even prior to that Royal Rumble, you could tell that's the direction they were going in with them. I wasn't ready. I didn't think Batista was a suitable replacement for Brock Lesnar, and Cena certainly wasn't a suitable replacement for The Rock, and was not sold at all. So when you get to the Royal Rumble and then they're the last two in the ring, and then I still am blown away the way that botch went, because I watched it over and over. There's no way they could have planned that. And the story is it was a legitimate botch. They weren't supposed to both go over, but how the hell they both went over and actually legitimately landed at the same time, to where WWE didn't have to make up some bullshit or pretend something happened that it didn't. They literally landed at the same time. And the audibles that were being called on the fly there, SmackDown guys raise Cena's hand, Raw guys raise Batista's hand, then you get them in the ring and they're trying to figure it out. I mean, maybe a tie was planned, but the way it was executed, there's no way those two guys with experience they had at that time would be able to pull off a finish that perfect. If they meant to tie, I mean, the way they landed, it was gnarly. They just hit the ground with this thud. There's no way they could have planned that shit and practiced that 4 or 5 times in the afternoon. They'd be dead. So it looked like a legitimate botch. They didn't know what to do. And then when Vince ran out there, oh my God. And I remember thinking, when I saw how mad he was, I'm like, this is like his company. Like, this is like their worst nightmare. They botched a finish of the Royal Rumble. They've landed on their feet, though, the fact that they landed at the same time. But if Batista was scheduled to win, what if he would have hit the ground first? They would have had, nothing would have changed for WrestleMania. They would have had to announce Cena as the winner. And then I can't remember what Cena did to get the title shot against JBL. They would have just had to do that. with Batista and Triple H, but it would have been harder to pull off because the whole thing with Batista and Triple H was him being able to choose and doing the thumbs up, thumbs down thing. So that was a big deal. If that would have gotten screwed up, man, that would have been a nightmare. And I've always wondered about that. You know, what if the winner of the Royal Rumble accidentally, like the planned winner of the Royal Rumble accidentally falls out? I just reviewed on my channel 2 days ago. Please check it out. Royal Rumble 1995. Shawn Michaels entered at number 1. What if he fell out of the ring by accident? What would they do? You can't, I mean, especially if everybody sees it. You can't put him back in there. You have to call an audible. You have to say, I'm curious, like how it works backstage if they have contingency plans. Do they have a fuck up option? Okay, let's say so-and-so's supposed to win. What if he accidentally falls off the apron and eliminates himself? What's plan B? Do they have that? I don't know. It always makes me wonder. But that show was so crazy the way that happened like that. And when Vince came storming out there, he was a house of fire. He was so pissed. And I still don't know how he did it. He just started running, and as he jumped in the ring, maybe because he's been sitting in the chair in Gorilla for 4 or 5 hours, his legs weren't stretched, and he hopped in, and it looked like he kind of banged both of his legs on the ring apron as he dove in, but then he tried to get up, and he just crumpled down. And I remember watching this not knowing what was going on. I'm like, what am I looking at? The fuck is going on? And he's sitting there, and then I think Batista even throws Cena over the top rope, and then Cena throws him over the top rope. He restarts the match, and it only goes about 45 seconds, and Batista tosses John Cena over, probably like it was supposed to go all along. But what a mess. What an absolute mess. And then Vince injures himself to begin with. So had that botch not happened, I'm surprised they pushed him so hard. Vince, if I was Vince, I'd blame those guys. You guys blew my quads out. Had you fuckers not screwed up, I wouldn't have ran out there. I wouldn't have blown both my legs out. And now you're expecting me to put the belt on both you assholes at WrestleMania? Get the fuck out of here. I can't believe that Vince didn't harbor any hard feelings towards those guys for that, because, you know, it's like if you're an angry, annoyed parent or something and you're yelling at your kids and then you stub your toe and you're like, God damn it, you know, you yell at them and blame it on them. Like, that's what it feels like Vince was in the position to do there. And the fact that they still both got championship victories at WrestleMania 21 is pretty hilarious looking back on it. So that was a complete mess. You know, Brett and Luger, you could tell the way they went over, they practiced that over and over and over, but the 05 shit was crazy. So anyway, we're going to watch that together. I don't have an exact date for you yet. Could pretty much do it anytime. We could tentatively do it this Sunday. Stay tuned. Like I said, make sure you subscribe. I'll put an announcement on YouTube. Follow me on Twitter, too. I'll let you guys know over there at Good Mic Work. But, yeah, I think maybe Sunday we'll shoot for Royal Rumble 2005. It'll be a fun week because I'm going to be up here Thursday, too. Shit, that'll put me up Thursday, Saturday, Sunday. Yeah, it might be a lot. I'm not sure yet. Hang tight. Stay tuned. Gary Rambo, I got you. Steven Scott, thanks, dude. Appreciate the $10. Hey, Good Mic Work. Enjoy the Royal Rumble 1995 review. I sent you a super chat yesterday about Shawn. Oh, you did. I do know some super chats were on there, but I was not present for the premiere. I premiered it on YouTube, but I didn't even watch it. So I'm sorry that I wasn't there to chat with you guys. I just tried to use the premiere tab thinking that might help the views a little bit. So go show that video some love, by the way. Views are, you know, maybe 11 or 1200, something like that. So pretty low. So go over there, click on it, give it a like, make a comment, something like that. It would really help me. And I talked for an hour about Royal Rumble 1995. We had a good time reviewing that the other day. So thank you to Steven, and I believe to Martin as well, and maybe another guy, a super chat that I missed. Thank you to you guys who donated during the premiere yesterday. You go on to say, after the Rumble, was Shawn injured? Because I don't remember seeing him wrestling until Mania. Yeah, no, I don't think he was injured. I don't think. Shortly after that, he brought in Sid. I'm sure he worked the live events. One of the things I talked about in the Rumble 95 review actually is after Diesel won the title from Backlund, he didn't wrestle on TV either. He did a few interviews and promos promoting the match with Brett, but he only worked live events. He didn't come out on TV and wrestle a match as champion until the Royal Rumble. So Shawn probably worked the live events, but then didn't work any Raws. Yeah, I mean, back then it was different. There was only an hour show. You could stretch it. It wouldn't be uncommon back then because it wasn't like, you know, the 2 hours and, you know, these multiple segments and stuff. The show was structured very differently back then. So that probably sounds about right. Shawn probably just did some interviews. He brought in Sid. I remember the Raw when they brought Sid in and did a lot of promotional stuff, but maybe didn't wrestle in the ring. I don't recall if Diesel did either. I'll have to go back and watch those Raws between from February and March of '95 and see what they did. I don't remember much. I don't remember. But that's not Diesel's fault that I don't remember. It's Sour Diesel's fault. Steven Scott, thanks for the $5, dude. If Luger would have stayed in WWE, do you see both? Do you see him being heel instead of Bulldog, or both being heels down the road as tag champs? I don't know. Had Luger stayed in WWE, I thought they were going to put the belts on the Allied Powers. It would be they would be a weird heel team. I don't think they could be good heels together. I liked when Bulldog turned heel and he cut his hair off and he reminded me of like 1986 Davey Boy. That was awesome. But they might not have done that had Luger stayed. They might have turned Luger heel. Luger heel on his own would have been fine. I would have been fine with that. Like them doing with Davey, what they did with Davey, doing that with Luger instead. That was the Monday Night Raw where Luger was home in Atlanta. That's actually what they said on TV. He was in Atlanta, all right. They actually said that on Raw. And then Bulldog agreed to be Diesel's partner, and then he turned on him and cut his hair. So I could see them doing something maybe similar with Luger. But they got a title shot, I think, at In Your House. I think it was the same In Your House as the maybe the Shawn and Jarrett Intercontinental match and the Lumberjack match. I think it was the same one there. And I thought they were a shoe-in. I thought as soon as that match was made, Allied Powers, Yoko against Yoko and Owen, Allied Powers would win, but they didn't. So maybe they didn't put the belt on Lex because his contract was coming up and they were working that out with him. That might have been the reason, but I thought they would have won there. So had Lex stuck around, re-signed, extended his deal, I think Allied Powers would have been tag team champions. But that's all I can see it going, at least right now. One of them would have had to turn heel, and based on the fact that Luger had such a good run as a heel previously, as the narcissist and shit, they might have tried it with him. I love thinking about stuff like that. I love the what ifs in the 90s because so many things could have been different. We've talked about a lot of what if scenarios on the channel over the years. Good. I'm glad that Sunday works out for Devlin. Hopefully it works out for all of you. I just got to try to remember what the hell I'm doing Sunday. But I will probably come up maybe kind of in the evening. For Devlin, for you, it wouldn't be in the evening. If I came up Sunday, I'd probably do it at 8 p.m. my time, which would be 11, which would be the same time as I came up tonight. So wherever you are in the world, if you watched me when I started, this is what time I'm going to be up on Sunday, watching that Royal Rumble. That'd be fun. Open up a couple of brewskis. We'll have a good time. Isaiah, thank you for 5 more as well. Been a fan of you since WrestleMania 29 predictions. Holy crap. Man, 2013. 8 years ago. That is crazy. If you could, what? Okay. Oh, okay. If you could, what do you think, or what would you want for a Mania card this year? I want Riddle versus Goldberg. Riddle versus Goldberg would be fun. I just don't know how you set that up in that amount of time based on where they are. Goldberg, it all depends with him. So much dependent on him. Contract-wise, I don't know the details. How many he's contracted to a certain amount of dates per year or matches per year. I just don't know if it's 2 or 3 or 4 or what the fuck, or how long that stretches. And they have heat. So, Goldberg might not want to burn one of his. I mean, if you're Goldberg, if you put yourself in Goldberg's shoes and Matt Riddle talks shit to you and says, oh man, I'll whip your fucking ass. I don't know. I mean, Goldberg, the only way Goldberg would want to work with Riddle is if Goldberg beats Riddle. That's it. So if WWE comes to Goldberg and says, hey, you want to work with Riddle? And he's going to tap you out. He's like, get the fuck out of here. So I don't know. Mania card, there's lots of different possibilities. Brock Lesnar, any of these guys could be back involved. We could see Ronda Rousey back if they really wanted to get nuts. But I don't even know at this point. I'd love to see Roman and Rock. That would be on the top of my list. Roman Reigns beating The Rock and becoming the true tribal chief. I wouldn't mind Brock coming back and looking at Heyman and saying, hey, what the F? You're aligning with this guy, given our relationship. And then Roman says, like, hey, I want Paul Heyman to myself. I propose a match, me and you. We settle things once and for all. We've been rivals for years. One more time. The winner gets Paul Heyman. Paul Heyman on a pole match. Hang his ass from the rafters and make it a ladder match. I don't care. Something like that to where it's one final match between the two. And Roman annihilates Brock Lesnar. But again, that's asking a lot. Last time we saw Brock on TV, he was annihilated by Drew McIntyre. So for him to come back, I think when Brock comes back, he's winning for a while. So that doesn't sound likely. I don't know. I'd love to see Rousey show back up in the Royal Rumble and win it. I would love that. But again, who knows? I'd have to give that some real thought. I'm sure we'll be doing some WrestleMania predictions. I might even do a WrestleMania speculation video or a fantasy booking here on one of these random nights that I'm off. Write down a few notes, come up live, talk about it. I'd be into that. Yeah, I don't trust WWE to put Riddle over either. He's kind of been goofy so far. I'm not really sure what their plans are for him, or his contract status, or if he's even happy there, if he's okay with this type of booking and stuff. I wish they would get out of Orlando and Tampa, because he's been wearing the same shit when they were in the other Thunderdome. He just wore his Orlando Magic type gear. Now he's wearing Tampa Bay Devil Rays, which looks a lot like the one he previously wore. So he's kind of being like John Cena, like rookie John Cena, just wearing the colors of the team, of the home team, of the city he's in. Corporal Alphadorf, damn near made me choke my beer. I don't know. I'm very worried. We're all concerned about Randy Orton's eyesight and his vision at this point, based on the severity of the injury. From what I saw on TV, I think it's very unlikely that Randy Orton will ever see again. And that's a shame, because he still had a lot to offer. Now he just isn't going to know what anybody looks like, or he doesn't know if he's got 5s or 20s. That just sucks. But best wishes, well wishes out to Randy Orton. Hope his vision comes back, because that was a gnarly shot he took right between the eyes by a ball of fire by little Alexa Bliss. And I don't know if they're going to arrest her or not. I guess if Randy Orton wasn't arrested for murder, she's not going to be arrested for attempted murder. Yeah, we've been talking a lot about Mania. I think that there's a really good chance people will be there. In terms of a Mania like we're used to, 80,000 people, very unlikely. But I think if WWE, and I think they will, if they really, put their mind to it and say, maybe there's going to be a compromise here, and they can figure out a way. They're brilliant with this stuff. They can put together some gorgeous sets. I mean, the Thunderdome has really helped keep their product moving, because if they would have remained inside that performance center with no noise and just empty deadness, they would not be alive right now. That would have been unwatchable. And as low as their ratings are, they would be even lower, I think. So they saved themselves with the Thunderdome and with the Capitol Wrestling Center and making some changes there. Now we're into the big part of the year. We have 2 big pay-per-views, arguably the 2 biggest, coming up in a 3 or 4 month span here. And I want them to do the right thing here, make these shows as good as possible, and get as creative as possible in Tampa. There's still no announcement of where the hell WrestleMania is going to be. It's supposed to be here in LA. That ain't happening, obviously. So when they officially say, okay, it's going to be back at Tampa, back in Raymond James Stadium, maybe they cover half of it. I know Raymond James doesn't have a roof, but maybe there's a way to put some sort of like half roof on half of it and have it condensed to one side. I don't know. And I thought if they could figure out a way to do a combination of real fans and virtual fans and have them intermixed, so pocket of fans, social distancing with the virtual fans in the middle, and then another pocket of fans, and have that around the arena, maybe they can make it look somewhat good. But WWE is all about those wide shots of the crowd at WrestleMania. No matter what happens this year, it ain't going to look like any other WrestleMania. But I think if they had some fun with it and tried to make it as close to a WrestleMania that we're used to as possible, maybe it could still be good, maybe it could still be salvaged. And then by the time we get to WrestleMania 38, or world and the life will be back to normal here, hopefully. Knock on something. I don't know, but I think they're probably making plans. I'm sure they've got some ideas in their head of what they're going to do. Okay, if it's they just don't really want to announce it yet because they have options and they're talking to people. I certainly don't think they're not thinking about it, but it'll be interesting. It sucks not knowing what you're going to get this year at WrestleMania. I was excited to go up there, meet some fans, hang out with some other YouTubers. I was really looking forward. Once the announcement was made for LA, I was down, but it ain't going to happen now. Oh, nice, Devlin. I'm glad to hear that. And Devlin proudly defends our country, so I am glad that a vaccine is coming your way, man. Good for you. Yeah, Mr. E, we talked about that in the beginning, 28th birthday for Monday Night Raw, which they did mention but didn't really make a huge deal out of. But wish they could have celebrated it in a better way because the show really suffered tonight. A lot of talent missing and a bunch of crazy shit going down. Yeah, the Super Bowl. I kind of forgot about the Super Bowl. I was watching a little bit of the games last night. Holy crap, Cleveland. Sucks to be a Steelers fan, I suppose. But Cleveland winning a playoff game. That was like, what universe am I in? I'm like, I've been checked out of football pretty much this year because I'm not interested in COVID sports. I'm just not. I can't follow it. I didn't give a rat's ass about the college championship tonight either. But I did watch a little bit of Cleveland and Pittsburgh last night, and that was crazy. The stomp, they jumped out 28-0 in the first quarter, and Pittsburgh had a good game, scored some points, but Ben's INTs and them being too far behind just cost them, and they lost. So that was actually kind of fun. But then I know we got Brady and Breeze are still in it, and we still got some teams. Could be interesting, but well, I don't know what's the plans for the Super Bowl. I don't even know. I don't know. Limited fans? Where is it even going to be? Holy shit. For real? Damn, Deshaun. That's a lot of people. Ravens and Titans. Wild card game yesterday had 14,520. 20% capacity. Wow. I didn't watch any of that game. Ravens won that, right? Won by a touchdown. Boy, those teams really like each other, don't they? Huh. Wasn't aware. Because when I watched some of the Cleveland Pittsburgh game, it didn't look like anybody was there. Cleveland to go all the way. Holy crap. I'd be fine with that. Why not? If Cleveland wins a Super Bowl, maybe it'll be good for that town because it'll give them something to celebrate, and it might briefly make them forget that they live in fucking Cleveland. So that would be good for them. I'm rooting for the Browns. Why not? Maybe they can win the Super Bowl. Maybe they can finally bring new meaning. Maybe taking the Browns to the Super Bowl doesn't mean that you're taking a shit anymore. It also means that it really happened. Bills game had 6,700. So yeah, I mean, if that's the thing. If you put 20,000 in Raymond James, you might even be able to get away with putting a little bit more than that. And then have virtual mixed in. I still don't know how that's going to look visually and how that's going to sound. I mean, then you got the crowd there, and then they're going to be hearing the pumped-in noise, the piped-in noise too. I mean, it might work. I don't know. You've never been this uncharted territory, man. You don't know. I'm glad I'm not in charge of figuring it out. Oh, yeah, I have not watched the Bailey on Broken Skull Sessions yet. I'm waiting. I'll wait and watch it with my girlfriend because she's interested in it. I'll probably watch that tomorrow. Did she really drink a beer? Good for her. I wasn't sure like how some of the, when he interviews, like the McIntyre one, he's had enough years in the biz, and I remember him a lot, and I was interested in his stories. And Bailey I really like, and I am interested to hear her journey. But one thing I noticed was some of these young ones, and these younger pieces of talent or current stars, and that are of this generation, they don't have like the cool, awesome road stories that you hear from like the 80s and 90s wrestlers. I could watch Undertaker and Stone Cold talk for, 3.5 years. Same thing with Austin and Kurt Angle and Bret Hart and anybody else he's ever had on the show that just have, an endless stream, an endless supply of road stories and crazy times and the way the business was back then. Everything is just so different now. I'm not sure how interested I am in some of these stories or whatever, but Bailey has had an interesting career and a lot of transitions and stuff. So I'm interested to hear her, but as a fan my age, I much prefer like the Undertaker episodes. Those are much more my cup of tea, but I love Bailey and I'm interested to see what that is like. So far, the people that have seen it said it's good. I think it came out yesterday, right? On the network. Oh, that's right. Super Bowl is there. Super Bowl is at Raymond James. Yeah, that's good. That's going to be a good test to see how it all goes. Yeah, I'm trying to think of who was on the Browns back when I was watching or back when I was a kid. It wasn't these particular Browns back then. It was the Ravens, actually. Who was on that team? Bernie Kosar and people like that. Yeah, well, I'm glad that the women have to go over the top rope because prior to the, back in the Diva days and stuff, if they ever did a battle royal, you just had to throw them through the ropes. You didn't have to throw them over the top rope. So the women are much more athletic and capable now. But I mean, aside from a Ronda Rousey return, there's only two people that I really, really care enough about that I want to win, and that's either Rhea Ripley or Bianca Belair. And I think Bianca like I've said a million times, is the best choice for me for that, and have Ripley like win the chamber, or something, some match a little bit more violent to earn her shot at WrestleMania, and have Bianca win the Rumble. Big moment for her. Big celebration moment for her would be fun. But if it's not one of them, then I really don't care who it is, unless it turns out to be like a Ronda Rousey, just a random who I don't think it's going to be her, but her name has been tossed around. I even think she's in the betting odds, the Vegas betting odds for the Royal Rumble. Her name is on it, along with Brock Lesnar and The Rock. So there's some smattering of people talking that maybe some of those names could be at the Royal Rumble. We'll see. Could be a perfect place if he's healthy for Edge to turn back up as well, and Edge can get that moment a second time. There's no topping that, though. I'd almost, now that I say that out loud, I'd almost rather not have Edge return at the Royal Rumble, because I want that moment last year to remain on its own, and for me to remember that, and to remember that only, and not to remember a different version of that. Because there's nothing he can do this year in a COVID pandemic Thunderdome era that can come out with that much emotion and everything that we felt in his return last year. You can't duplicate that, certainly not in an environment where no fans are there. So if it's up to me, I'm keeping Edge out of the Royal Rumble unless Edge is winning it. If he wins it, okay, compromise. But if he's not winning it, don't bring him back in the same way. You can't, it's not the same. I want that moment to live forever last year, and I don't want to think of them fucking that up. So if he's not planning to win the Royal Rumble, keep Edge out completely. Have him do something else. Have him turn up in the Firefly match or the Funhouse match if they wind up doing that. I don't know. Have him do something else. But Edge possibly winning the Royal Rumble would be fun, though, I suppose. Edge going to WrestleMania to face McIntyre, I guess. I don't know. I don't know what they'll do. CM Punk return. If anybody would return in a virtual crowd moment, it would probably be CM Punk. He's probably like, yeah, the hell with it. He's like, I'm different. I like to march by the beat of my own drummer. I don't want that, though. I mean, CM Punk, how many more years can we, realistically talk about a return for him? I guess it's always going to be an option, even though most people now think it'll never happen. But if it does, how can you not have fans there for that? That should be, and if he does it in the next couple of years, he'll be all right. Otherwise, with every passing year, the quieter that return pop I think is going to be, with wrestling fans getting older or moving on, or a new generation who might not be familiar with him and remember his whole situation. But I still think there's time. If he would have came back a couple of years ago and just randomly shown up somewhere, it would have blown the roof off of any arena that took place in. It would have been awesome. I'd like to see if the fans could handle like a double shock, like last year at the Royal Rumble. Have Edge come out first. All the fans are going apeshit. We're crying in the audience, watching Edge's reaction. We're all just on cloud nine. We can't even believe it. Our hearts are about to explode out of our chests. And 2 minutes later, the very next entrant into the Rumble is CM Punk. It would kill half the wrestling audience. We'd all drop dead of cardiac arrest. That would be like a sensory overload to hit us once, just extremely hard in the face, and then boom again. I'd like to see that experiment try, just to see what it would do to the wrestling fans. Just imagine Twitter. Holy crap. Oh, definitely got to go eat. Yeah, you better if you just got back from the gym. Have fun crawling to your dinner. And happy birthday, man. Take care. Thanks for being here. Oh, yeah, CM Punk in AEW would be awesome. But he missed his shot there, too, man. When there was an audience there and they're in Chicago all out, there's your chance, CM Punk. You should have came back right there, but you didn't. You were a punk. All right, what are we looking at here? All right, been going about 90 minutes now. Probably going to be getting out of here soon because, like Devlin, I need to eat too. Yeah, Marcus, I'm kind of with you. I think Asuka's going to be dropping that match or dropping the belt prior to Mania as well. And I wouldn't mind that. Like what I talked about on Saturday in the podcast, and I think last week in the Raw review, is I'd like to see something where Asuka does in fact drop the belt to Charlotte. Yes, I know, don't have a heart attack. Don't call the cops. Just chill. Hear me out. Charlotte beats her maybe at the Royal Rumble, and then Ripley beats Charlotte and gets the win back. What would be so wrong with that? Do you have to suffer through, 12 weeks of Charlotte being champion between now and WrestleMania? So what? Suck it up. If she goes into WrestleMania and it kind of rights what many fans consider a wrong last year, And a lot of people felt Rhea Ripley should have won that match, and it just added another big WrestleMania victory to Charlotte Flair's resume. She can easily afford to drop one here now that she's already ended Asuka's streak, and she beat Rhea Ripley as well. She, won the title the match that made the Divas title into the women's title. Like, she's done everything at WrestleMania. So it's time, and she was involved in the first ever women's main event. So it's time for her to drop one here. So have her beat Asuka. She'll be champ going into WrestleMania. Rhea Ripley wins the chamber, gets the title shot, challenges Charlotte, and then beats Charlotte in the rematch at WrestleMania. I'm perfectly on board with that scenario playing out, but it might not play out exactly that way. If Asuka does drop the belt to Charlotte, what does Asuka do after that? And where will she be at WrestleMania? I'd hate to see her be kind of invisible or just in a battle royal or not doing anything of substance. So maybe you could keep her in the mix and make it a triple threat at WrestleMania or something. Or, maybe she helps put Rhea Ripley over. Maybe if Charlotte beats Asuka for the title and becomes champion, and then you put not only Rhea Ripley, but also Asuka in the Elimination Chamber, and it comes down to the two of them, and Ripley beats her and pins her to win the match and go on to WrestleMania and then beats Charlotte at WrestleMania, that's a good way to launch Rhea Ripley off the ramp with a victory, a clean, victory in the Elimination Chamber over Asuka, then beating Charlotte at WrestleMania, and then boom, star is born. So something like that is cool, because Asuka, as much as I love her, I think she also has built quite a fantastic resume for herself, where those two losses aren't going to damage her in the long run. She'll be fine. Maybe she'll be a little bit less visible at WrestleMania this year, but she'll go on to win another title. They might move her to SmackDown. Who knows? She'll be reborn again. She'll be fine. At the end of the day, her legacy will continue, and I think both Asuka and Charlotte could afford losses to Rhea without doing anything to the status and their spot in the roster at all. So would love to see that happen. But what I want and what they do are usually two completely different things. Oh yeah, getting CM Punk in the mix versus Bryan, making the whole I mean, I guess if it's a triple threat, might as well make it a four-way. No big deal there. As long as Bryan came out on top of that, that's all I cared about. Who would win a match between John Cena and Optimus Prime? Cena. Duh. I remember I had Optimus Prime Transformer when I was a kid in like 1985 or something. And I remember one of the legs broke off of him, and I put masking tape. And I remember it was like 3 months before Christmas, and I was like, Mom, I'm going to ask for another Optimus Prime, but until then, I'm going to tape it up. I was into Transformers back then. Never saw any of the Transformers movies, nothing. But when the toys were out in the 80s, I had a lot of them. And I liked them. I sold them at a garage sale for some reason, even when I was still a kid. Even when I wasn't even over playing with them yet, I sold them. I don't think I understood how selling works. And then I was like, oh, I miss my Transformers. Where are they? Oh, yeah. Thank you for that, Reese Jones. Charlotte is in the Rumble match. She declared that tonight, actually, in her pre-match promo. That's right. That changes things. So she better not win it. She better not win it. That's going to make things really weird. I'd rather see her lose it. I'd rather see her... Oh, that would be cool. Good way to set it up. Okay, put Charlotte... Okay, here's how we do it now. Charlotte's in the Rumble match. Rhea eliminates her from the Royal Rumble. Then you do Charlotte, and then Rhea goes on to win it. But then you do Charlotte and Asuka at the in-between pay-per-views. I still don't know what are they doing. Are they doing Fastlane and Elimination Chamber? If they are, do the match on one of those where Charlotte beats Asuka and wins the title. And then, of course, Rhea Ripley won the Rumble, and Ripley tossed her out. And then you have the match at WrestleMania, and you still have Ripley beat her for the title. Just like Drew did last year. He eliminated Brock from the Rumble and beat him. You can do the same thing with Ripley and Charlotte. So Charlotte being in the Royal Rumble is actually not a bad idea. I'm fine with that, too. And give Asuka a different challenger at the Royal Rumble and just have her beat her. Put her in a triple threat with Shayna and Asuka, and Shayna and Baszler, and have Asuka... Or no, Shayna and Nia, and have Asuka beat both their asses. That would be fun. Hector and Maya, $2. Who's better, Kobe or LeBron? Oh, man, they were both pretty awesome. I think Kobe was a touch more clutch. I think they've both done similar things. They've both taken different teams to championships. You know, Kobe had his run with Shaq and everything, and then Lakers rebuilt. He became the leader of the team and led them to the promised land again. So he's done that a couple of times, and so has LeBron. He's done it with 3 teams, and that's pretty damn unprecedented. So that's a tough one, man. At the end of the day, I think LeBron's legacy might go down as a touch higher than Kobe's, but I'm not going to not say Kobe right now. Kobe just died, man. We miss Kobe. Coming up on the year anniversary of his death in just a week or 2 from now. Same day as the Royal Rumble, I believe, last year. Coming up on the year anniversary of the Jericho Cruise, man. I went on that last year. I can't believe that's been a year that I went on that. That was so much fun back when there was not a pandemic. I'm currently booked for the next one, although I don't know if I'm going to go or not. I might not. And that might be postponed longer as well, but can't believe that's been a year already. Yeah, Victor, we've talked 150,000 times in the past about WWE shaving down the amount of pay-per-views they give us every year, but I just don't think that's realistic. It's realistic, for booking purposes, but in terms of WWE, what they do, it's just not. They're just not going to do that. So, if anything, I would love it if they would reduce the gimmick pay-per-views, like we talked about. Get rid of TLC and Hell in the Cell. Those are ridiculous. You should save those matches for when you need them. Same thing with Elimination Chamber, although Chamber is now used to determine title matches, so you can't really move that one now. But at least Hell in the Cell and TLC have got to go. And when you have a crazy feud and a crazy angle, then you just book a Hell in the Cell at SummerSlam, at WrestleMania, at the Royal Rumble, at fucking in your house. Book it somewhere. Don't have a whole pay-per-view dedicated to it. That's stupid. Yeah, I did a big review of the Jericho Cruise. That was a fun review to do. I think if I go on the next one, my next review will be much better because that was my first experience with really being conscious of having a camera with me and around everywhere I went on the cruise and trying to get as much footage and stuff as possible. And, sometimes I didn't feel like recording and I just want to enjoy myself and shit. But if I go on the next one, it'll be even a much better review. But it was still a good review, fun one to do, and check it out if you never have. Oh, I didn't know that, Isaiah. That's cool. AJ Styles has a doc on the network Sunday about him debuting at the Royal Rumble 2016. It might be one of those day of things or something. I've watched a few of those. That would be a good one because that was quite the reveal there. Man, how about those 2 huge camera botches at Royal Rumble 16 and 20? With AJ, they missed the screen when it said phenomenal and the crowd popped, and then with Edge, they missed him coming in and spearing Ziggler. Idiots. They robbed us of those moments. Notorious believes that we will have The Fiend and Edge return at the Royal Rumble. I think that's likely as well, although I think The Fiend could potentially return prior to then. Although with Randy Orton being shot in the face with a fireball tonight, he might be out of action for a little while. There we go. Just getting back to where I was. All right. We good. Okay, that's caught up. I'm just making sure I didn't miss anything. I thought I had missed somebody's comment. We're good. We're caught up. So that is probably going to do it for me tonight. Don't worry, though. You're going to see a lot of me this week, like a lot of me, potentially. I'm still not 100% sold on Sunday if I'm going to do that or not, but you're likely going to see me Sunday for a Royal Rumble watch-along. You're going to see me Thursday night for a SmackDown review, this coming Saturday for the Winged Eagle, and 1 week from tonight for our Raw review next week. And based on what's going on with WWE and the COVID and stuff, it might be an interesting Raw. I don't think Drew McIntyre or anybody that's tested positive is going to be returned from their quarantine yet. And plus, we also don't know how this affects the SmackDown side of things either. Because if you had a few positive tests on Raw, stands to reason you're going to have a few on SmackDown as well. So we'll see this coming Friday what WWE does, what they have planned, and what the news sites. I haven't seen anything that specific yet from places like Fightful in terms of the COVID tests, because right now the only one we know of is Drew McIntyre. But based on the way the show was tonight, how can there not be more? It feels like there's got to be. So we don't want to speculate or report anything, any misinformation or anything like that, but it seems pretty obvious that there's probably a few of these. So we'll see what happens on Friday with Friday Night SmackDown. But anyway, that's gonna be a wrap for me. I got to get out of here. I got stuff to do. I got food to eat. I got shit to prepare for later on this week. So you guys take care. Have a great rest of your Monday night. And remember to come back here and watch me Thursday night. We're going to talk about Brock Lesnar and Kurt Angle Iron Man match. And if you're looking for something to kill time in the meantime, check out my Royal Rumble 1995 review that dropped on the channel yesterday. Really fun, hour-long look back at a wacky-ass Royal Rumble. So give that a look as well. And